Good morning, everyone. My name is Kayla Marino, and I'm with the Virginia SBDC Network. For those of you that are not familiar with our organization, the Virginia Small Business Development Center is a partnership between the U.S. Small Business Administration, George Mason University, and local host institutions throughout Virginia. With 27 locations across the Commonwealth, we provide training and technical assistance to small businesses in their local communities, and our one-on-one consulting services are available at no charge. Today's webinar, Delivering a Premium Shop Small Experience During the Holiday Season, is presented by the Virginia SBDC Network. We are recording today's session, and it will be posted on our website, virginiasbdc.org. Due to the large number of participants, everyone's mic is muted, but if you have questions during the presentation, you can type those in the Q&A box. We've also enabled the live transcript function when you can show or hide via your meeting controls. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter for today's session, Mark Wilson, a published keynote speaker. Mark Wilson brings 4 decades of experience to bear helping retail, restaurant, and tourism-related small businesses refine and promote their concepts to the public. In 1975, Mark started his retail career as co-owner of the largest distributor of earth shoes in North America. Since then, he has held executive positions with retailers such as Britches of Georgetown, Crown Books, Wilson's Leather, Circuit City, The Bicycle Exchange, eCampus.com, and StoreTracks Inc. Most recently, he traveled to Dallas, Texas to open the world's first energy efficiency store for Current Energy LLC, a company funded by Ross Perot Jr. The Wilson Company was reestablished in 2009 as a small business strategy consulting group. Mark was contracted by the Virginia SBDC in 2009 as a retail and restaurant industry strategist, developing into a small business revivalist. And he's traveled throughout the country delivering the award-winning STAMP program with over 500 seminars and assisting over 3,000 retailers, restaurants, and hospitality businesses. So please join me in welcoming our presenter for today, Mark Wilson.
Good morning, everybody. Happy holidays. 19 days left till Christmas, if you can believe that. But thanks for the kind words, Kayla. We're going to have, I almost feel like we're a day late and a dollar short because it's now December 6th. But I'm going to go over, what I believe are the best practices for having a good holiday season. And I'm assuming that you're well into that. I'm assuming and hoping and praying that you had a fabulous Small Business Saturday, which was last Saturday. And I hope that got kicked you off to a great start, because the mood and the demeanor of the country is to support small businesses and see the local stores do well and support their communities, because they know how important they are to the geography of their area, and small towns are important, and we know that. So I've been doing this for 12 years. I do it in several states, and I pride myself in staying as current as possible. So you're looking at a guy that was in the retail business for four decades, retail, restaurants, and hospitality. But I'm not old school. I've kept up with all the technologies and kept up with how really dramatically retail has changed, particularly in the last 2 years. So I've helped countless stores and small businesses throughout COVID and Delta, and now we have a new strain, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But without further ado, that's enough about me. Let's talk about this holiday season. That's me. Just in case you run into me on the street or see me on the internet, that's me. And I at one point I was running 105 clothing stores, so I do know how to put a coat and tie on and get dressed up. But where are we right now? Well, actually, the pandemic is kind of the elephant in the room. It's not something we want to focus on or talk a lot about, because we want it behind us, and we want people to back out there shopping like they used to in the public and not over the internet. Now, We are also realists. We also know that a good portion of retail has moved to e-commerce and moved to the internet. And we're going to talk about that and its impact. But you all know that COVID is somewhat in retreat, and we're getting more and more people vaccinated, and we're going down the path of boosters. And, it's my opinion that we'll be taking some kind of shot for COVID for the next decade, much like we do the flu shot. I think it's another strain of the flu, and if there's other strains coming down the pike. So, it's a mammal to mammal virus, and that's how it's spread. So they're almost impossible to eradicate. So we're going to be fighting it. But we should be past the firefighting mode of reacting to COVID and the virus. We should be past that. We should be safe, clean, and antiseptic in our stores. And we really should be putting our emphasis on the experience that we're now providing for a customer to have in our small stores again, because that's why they come. It's about the experience. And I tell my small business owners, you're not in the business of selling a product to a customer. I'm going to leave that to the chain stores and the big boxes. You're in the business of feelings. You're in the business of making people feel warm and fuzzy and happy and joyous and having a great time shopping with you, and meeting and talking to your staff, and just having a good time. And when they leave, you want your customers saying to themselves, oh my gosh, they treated me just like family in there. And for customers that have shopped with you for years, you should know that, first of all, you're good customers, you ought to know their first names. I mean, the top 20%, you ought to know their first names. But empathy matters. People have gone through a rough time in the last 2 years. And there's been so much, undecided futures for everybody involved. So know that, and know that you need to be aware of it and be empathetic. So what can we really expect this holiday season? Well, there's several things that are going on. One, the pros are that new customers have found you over the past 2 years. I mean, people are on the internet shopping like they've never been before. In fact, the new big demographic is baby boomers. People my age have discovered how to use the internet to shop, and they like it. The convenience is a huge factor for them. And they've discovered your store maybe for the first time. They've discovered dozens of stores for the first time just by surfing the net and Googling what they want to buy and looking at the different stores. So you may have new customers visiting your store for the first time because they discovered you on the internet. The new phenomena of daycations is alive and real. During COVID, people haven't really taken the trips to Europe that they did in the past, and big plane trips. They tend to feel a little safer in their car, so they tend to go on drivable tourism related trips. So people are discovering their state more than they have in the past, or their nearby states, because they're getting in the car and they're traveling via car to discover all the treasures that lie within their state or nearby. And they possibly have found your town for the first time or found you for the first time. So know that there's so many facets of gift giving now as a result of the pandemic. So many people are seeing their friends and neighbors and colleagues and relatives for the first time in months. And you'll see that most of the national campaigns on TV now are about gatherings and about family and about tradition and about doing things together and, having dinners together and hugging and kissing and shaking hands and doing all those feel-good things over the holidays. And in listening to the holiday carols lately, there's even songs about, I wish it was like Christmas year round with all the the kind wishes and good wishes and everybody being nice to each other and wishing everybody a happy holiday. So, there's many facets and it's changed some over time. And then, you had Small Business Saturday, and hopefully you put a ton of work into preparing for that and had events and giveaways and be back coupons and gathered data and all those kinds of things you should be doing this time of year. But I hope Small Business Saturday was good to you and that you're using that momentum to carry right in through the rest of the month. We're really at 6 weeks, if you count the weeks after Christmas as big shopping days as well. So, this is the fourth quarter. This is the grind time. This is make hay while the sun is shining. If you have to expand your hours, expand them. But this is the time. This is the time to make the profit for the year. Okay, what are the cons about this holiday? Well, the pandemic and what it's done to everybody's mentality over the last 2 years. But there's ongoing supply chain issues. There's issues of stuff sitting on containers all over the world, and in the out west, and then in New York's harbor, there's boats that need to be unloaded because of labor shortages and supply issues and raw material issues and just the distance some of the product has to travel. There's going to be supply issues. So hopefully you've sorted through all that and got the product you need to do business, because it's almost too late to get your holiday product on board. So I hope you've dealt with that. The other huge issue right now is staffing and staffing shortages. They're everywhere, in small business, in big business, in chain stores, in restaurants, in hotels. We just have a lot of folks that have made the decision over the last couple of years that they don't want to work in the service industries. They don't want to work the hours. They don't want to work at night. They don't want to work on the weekends. They've had time to make decisions about that career path, and maybe had time based on unemployment and the stipend that was given out during COVID, that they've found other things to do. And there are some people, and you probably know them, that have said, you know what, I don't want to do what I used to do anymore. I want to do something different. And people are looking for those kinds of jobs. So we'll talk about that in detail in a minute, but we got to start re-looking at maybe the shifts and the hours and the job descriptions that we require in our retail and restaurant stores in small towns. Significant delays in shipping. Now, what I mean by that is not through the supply chain, but getting the product from your website or your store shipped to your customers. So we're going to talk about making sure you have all those deadlines listed on your website. So the other thing that happens when more business is done online is that you end up getting more returns. So the volume of returns typically goes way up because people on the internet tend to buy things they don't intend on keeping. They buy them for comparisons. They buy them to touch and feel them because they haven't come to the store to do that. And they may have called you or Zoomed you or Facebook Lived you, and you did a live presentation of some products for them virtually via the internet, but they didn't touch it or feel it or smell it. So they return things after Christmas in a big way. So one of the things that happened in 2020 was all the volume of returns in January kind of caught everybody off guard, but it's a natural phenomenon when you buy all over the internet. So I'll finish this slide with the 4 C's. The most important things in the consumer's mind right now are these 4 C's. First and foremost, convenience. Second, caution. They don't want the virus and they don't want to catch it, so they want to shop where it's safe and you've been mindful of preparing the store. The third C is cause. Consumers like to see that you're into some of the things that make the world go round that are bigger than selling a product to a customer. They want you to think about sustainability and inclusion and fair treatment of everybody and fair treatment of where you get your products from. Are the employees at the manufacturers you buy your products from, are they being treated fairly? And are you giving back to your community, and are you part of the community, and are you visible as a business owner in the community, and are you trying to improve the entire community through the efforts in your own single store? I call that co-opetition. Co-opetition is store owners and vendors and town officials and town residents all working together for the success of the whole town. Because I know that all boats rise with the tide. So if the whole town is cooperating and doing well, then each individual store does better. So far better you're combined and you're working together and you know each other's best products, and you know the menus, and you know what good hotels there are. You're an ambassador for the whole town, and so should every business owner and every resident of the town. You ought to love where you live, and you ought to shop where you live. So the fourth C is community. So the 4 C's are convenience, caution, cause, and community. And again, the good news is the American public are very open to trying to support small, independently owned businesses because they know how important they are to the whole commerce of the country. They hire more people in total than big stores do, and they're just incredibly important. And we've paid attention to them, and we're paying attention to them, and hopefully that kind of support is showing in your bottom line. That's at the end of the day, are you making money or not? So I know that. So let's talk about reconnecting with your why and packaging your special sauce for the holidays. So this is something I talk about, and I think it's important, and it's why independently owned stores in small towns are so important. People often ask me, when you're in a small town and you visit a half dozen or a dozen of their retailers, and you find one that's doing fabulous and does very well and has always done well, and then you also meet with several others that are struggling. And let's put finances to the side for a minute. Let's just talk about operations and the culture and the vibe that your store puts out. Your special sauce is that feeling in your store, the vibration, the energy, the what I want to say, not the cohesion, the collective group working together, having fun, offering fun. I said it earlier, you leave the store and you go, those people treated me like my family treats me. And they knew what I bought in the past. They had great recommendations on what I should buy with the new product. They're happy. They talked to me. Everybody got involved. Everybody gave me ideas. It's your secret sauce, and it usually comes from the owner or whoever's managing the store. But it trickles down from the top, and it's got to be contagious and collective, and it's got to happen with everybody. You're only as good as the weakest link in the chain. I tell people that they ought to spend as much time with the part-timers that only work a couple times a week as they do with their full-time employees, because it doesn't matter whether they're full-time or part-time. They're your operation. They're where the rubber meets the road. Your employees have the direct contact with the customers. Not that you don't, and probably you're the most effective employee in the whole place, but you have to be doing other things. You got to run your store as well as wait on customers. So you can't you can't put all your attention on being the best salesperson in your store. You ought to train people to do that. So the point of packaging your special sauce is if more business is going to be done on the internet, then we need to pour that secret sauce over your website too. And it needs to be fun and intuitive and frictionless and convenient and all the things the customer's looking for out of a website now. Informative, easy to use, convenient ways to get your product, all those things. So the secret sauce has to go virtual too. So it's just as important to spread that joy on the internet as you do in your store. So that's my thing on secret sauce. And then your value proposition. What are you? And are you and your staff clear on why the customer should pick your store over anybody else's to do their shopping at? And that goes, that speaks to every facet of your store. Is it clean? Is it antiseptic? Is it well merchandised? Is it well lit? Is the flow good? Is the traffic flow good? Is your signage good? Do you have a lot of impulse items around your front counter? Do you have a great window that you've put together for the holidays? 40% of what you buy is a result of it being in the window or on your website, because 9 out of 10 people, whether they're going to shop on your website or not, they go there for information. 9 out of 10, it's probably 10 out of 10 now, because they're on their phone in your store or on the sidewalk out front on your website. I cannot impress on you how important your website is, starting last year, this year, and going forward. So when you're talking about using the holidays to prepare for next year, you ought to be thinking about how your website supports that endeavor. And you ought to be collecting as much data as you can collect from your current shoppers so that you can reach them going forward. Because part of preparing for 2022 is having names you can contact from people that have bought from you before, been in your store, or been on your website. Because you got to create traffic in January and February that's not normally just out there because of weather or because it's dark or because, it's a funky time of the year, January, February, March. So you need to be clear, and your store needs to be clear as what makes you so darn special. And to that end, I'd like everybody to think about their destination statement. A friend of mine, a colleague out in Colorado calls this your destination statement. And he does whole seminars on it for the town and for individual merchants. But I think it's important. I've talked about it for years also. And I think it should be, the elevator speech is, or pitch is an older tool used. It's, can you describe your business and why a customer should shop there? If you're on a elevator with a stranger and you've got basically 30 seconds to tell them who you are, what you do, and why they should care. I'm now saying that's a 30-second video that ought to be on your website, or it ought to be on the tip of the tongue of everyone that works for you and you as well. And it goes like this: I am the only business in, and then you claim your real estate, you claim your world, you claim I'm the only business in my town, I'm the only business in my county, I'm the only business in this state, I'm the only business in the United States, and I'm the only business in the world because I'm on the internet. And I want you to finish the sentence of what you do that makes you unique. And what's the definition of unique? One of a kind. We're the only ones that carry this, that, and those. We're the only staff that's been together for over 5 years. We're the only store in our town that's been open for 3 generations. we just celebrate our 50th anniversary. Anything that you can hang your hat on that makes you the best place to shop. So take a minute. Let's stop for a second. And Kayla, can you take a look, or I'd like you to put in the Q&A, if you wouldn't mind, your definition of your destination statement. Why should people go out of their way or get in their car and drive to your store or visit your website to find products they're looking for and have an experience they're looking for? So can we do that for a minute or two?
Yeah, of
I hope
course.
some of you already know it.
So everyone, you can put it in the question and answer, or the chat is open as well because we've got a smaller group with us today.
Oh, okay.
Pamela says the Valley, the only business in the Valley that offers herbal remedies.
That's perfect. It's short, it's succinct, and it gives you a reason that you're a destination. Are they Pamela, are they made at your location?
Yes, she says yes.
So great, add that too. Product is made on site. Come watch us make it. People love, that's part of the experience.
Ooh, we've got another one.
Yep.
Cass says the only business in the world that makes and sells Peg's salt, the world's most versatile seasoned salt.
That's beautiful. In the world.
They said, yep.
These are the kinds of things that you need to think about. Now, if only, you must be a shy group or a small group, but unless we get any others, I want you all to spend a minute or, whatever, 10 minutes, sit down with a piece of paper, in the morning, a cup of coffee, in the evening, a glass of wine, if you drink wine or whatever, and say to yourself, I'm the only business in Clark County or whatever, whatever county you're in, or state or country, and really think about what is it that you do that makes you so special. And a great place to find this kind of thing are reviews you get on review sites and comments you get on your Instagram and Facebook. Social media is a great place to gather great testimonials and have consumer involvement in your social media, and have comments and testimonials coming in from your customers. So they're all important. So make sure you have a destination statement.
Oh, we got one more quick one.
Okay, I'll take it.
Oh, we got one from Phyllis that says, I'm the only business in Virginia that is a modern quilt shop. And we also had another participant request if everyone is comfortable sharing a link to their business in the chat. So if you guys want to do that.
Oh, I'm a big believer. I believe colleagues can train colleagues better than I can. So if you have destination statements and you just haven't thought, you haven't wordsmithed them yet or gotten them ready, just put them in the chat or you email them to our email you'll see on the last slide, and we'll share them with everybody that came to this webinar. But I want your wheels turning on that. The other good exercise is to take a piece of paper and say, what do people put in their browser window to find me? And write down all the words you think people put into Google to find your business. And then make sure you're using those words in all your social media and all the content on your website, in any mailers you do, in anything you do that reaches out to the customer, press releases, ads, radio ads, TV, Newspaper, if the local paper's read, I really ask you to use it. It's a old school way of getting to the locals more than anybody, but people pick up the local papers to look at to see what to do. So anyways, destination statement, important. Why does your why matter right now? Well, there's this phenomena going on that's called languishing. Have any of you heard of it? The last 2 years have been deceptively hard for lots of folks. There's been losses, there's been family issues, there's been, missing all the people that you used to work with in your office, working out of the house, being alone more than you've ever been, being holed up in your home and working from there. And there's this, people don't know how to describe it. They just say, I don't feel 100%. I kind of have the blahs. Things don't feel quite right. And it could be the impact of the booster or your vaccinations having side effects. But all in all, when somebody asked me, 6 months ago, I would say, I just don't feel 100%. And I think that might be from language. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm tired of teaching people over the internet. I enjoyed and look forward to meeting people in person. And we're starting to do that again. We're getting out. All the SBDCs are getting out to meet with their customers again, or have their customers come into their office. So that's that undescribable feeling we kind of all have now. But on the flip side, retail experts are predicting stronger holiday sales than ever, but more competition. They are predicting an overall 10% increase. That's huge. So I hope you all are living that life right now and that you're doing well. 80% of small businesses have reported that this holiday season will play a huge role in their ability to remain open through 2022 and beyond. So this is an important time. The holiday season will be exhausting for all of us. Our why is more important than ever for us and for our customers. So you need to think sometimes, why do I get up in the morning? Why do I love doing what I do? And why am I doing this? And what am I hoping to achieve by doing it? What is my purpose? Is it fulfilling my purpose? And everybody has a definition of success that's different. Just make sure your business is fulfilling your definition of success. Let's embrace some best practices that work for the holidays and beyond. So let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, I said the 4 C's, sorry. What I meant to say was there's 5 ways a customer may want to get their product today. So first and foremost, and think about convenience here, omni-channel, omni-channel, omni-channel. You have to be able to communicate and reach your customers and be visible to your customers in any manner and channel in which they choose to shop with you. So think about this. I'll give you 5 ways a customer can get their product right now. They can come down in your store and shop like they used to and have a blast and enjoy Christmas shopping and listen to the music and have the joyous occasions and be friendly to everybody and, just enjoy Christmas shopping again. That's the first way. Second way, buy online, pick up in the store. Okay, I've found what I got. I found what I want. I want to go ahead and pay for it online and pick it up in your store. The only thing I add there is, and it's worth emphasizing, is customers are looking for easy ways to pay you, contactless and frictionless. So you need to have the ability to make it easy for people to pay you and not touch anything and be contactless. So make sure that's part of your program. But buy online, pick up in store. Buy online, have you bring it out to them at the curb. So BOPS, buy online, pick up in store. Buy online, pick up on the curb. Buy online, have you deliver it to them locally. So don't ship it, but locally deliver. By the way, the consumer believes that's the safest way to get a product from your store, is to have you or one of your employees deliver it to them in a reasonable mile radius, 1 mile, 5 mile, but in a decent radius. They can buy it online and you can ship it to them. And you can ship via UPS, FedEx, DHL, and USPS. I mean, there's tons of ways to ship, but we're getting down to the wire here already on how much time you have to ship products. And I'll show you a website that shows, all the cutoffs and deadlines right on their homepage, which I think are important. So omni-channel, you got your website and social media. So you should be using that like crazy right now. You ought to be posting every day. You've got an e-commerce website. I hope you've at least taken the top 20% of your product and got them online for your customers to buy. You have the ability to ship, you have the ability to deliver, and you have the ability to buy online and pick up in the store and curbside. So you need to be able to execute on all those different ways so that you can make every customer happy. So that should be well on the way for you. And I'm just reminding you of the different ways to go about getting your product. And how about merchandising this time of year? Is the store full? Is it clean? Are your best gifts in the hottest spots? Do you have your best gifts in the window? Do you have your best gifts on your website? Do you have shopping? I think shopping lists on your website are a great idea, or on an easel in your window. Gifts under 100, gifts under 50, gifts under 25, things like that. And other stores will hand you like a menu when you want to come in the store to highlight their best items. And a good merchant makes sure their best items are high margin so that they make profit when they sell them. Have you pre-wrapped any of your hot selling gifts? Have you pre-wrapped them for your site as well? So people are looking for pre-wrapped gifts. In a store, you want to build a pyramid of them wrapped, and then one that's not wrapped out front that they can pick up and touch and smell and feel and all those things. But that works great. Dudes love it. They come in, oh, I'll take 3 of these and 3 of these and 4 of these. I'll get all my stocking stuff. I'll get all my Hanukkah presents done. There's lots of holidays, by the way, this time of year. Ramadan, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas. There's all sorts of things going on. Hot spots versus dead spots, lit spots versus dark spots. I believe in track lighting, and I believe you should have the lights beamed onto the product so that there's light and dark, and there's drama, and there's excitement, and there's fun, and there's exploring, and ooh, I gotta look at that rack over there. Ooh, look at that. Oh, look at it. And what's the traffic flow? And do you still have your 6-foot distancing stickers on the floor? That's a good question. How are you going to business? How are you going to market? But merchandising is important. Shipping, here we go. Know the weight of your best shipments like the back of your hand. Consider flat shipping rates as options. Make it easy for your customers to track their shipment. You should have if you're using a big carrier, they have that product available. But you should let them know in what part of the transition and transportation is your product in. So being able to track their own shipment, and then clearly communicate your return policy and make it easy for customers to mail back their returns if they need to make a return or an exchange. Because the big kahuna, Amazon, has made it easy to deal with them for returns and exchanges. So they expect the same thing for you. That's one of the issues right now. The consumer believes that you should offer them the same perks that a big box and a big chain store does. Fast shipping, easy returns, contactless payment. They're expecting those, and they think you should get their product to them in a day or two, just like the big boys do. So clearly and prominently display the cutoffs. See the lighter part of this slide in the lower left-hand corner? Those are the cutoffs based on how you're getting things shipped to you from this store. So no surprises. I drove a Mont Blanc pen from one of my clothing stores to a customer's house in Pennsylvania from Washington on Christmas Eve, so I didn't ruin their Christmas. So no surprises. Make sure that stuff gets to them on time. And it's dicey this year because of the bottlenecks and the supply chain issues. So be aware of that. 5 simple strategies for the holidays. First of all, you should have a strategy in place, and you should revisit that strategy weekly based on what's changed, updated, share budgets with your staff, share indices or business by day, use history as a way to forecast how your business will hit, look at the calendar from last year, see what days were busiest, see what days were softer, look at the weather, have a plan. Have a plan for your e-commerce and what you're going to be doing. Buy one, get one. BOGO is a great way to have promotions. Buy one, get one half off. What's the customer see? Half off. What are you really marking them down? 25%. And you're moving 2 units. So BOGO is a great, packaging and bundling is a great way to go on sale. Focus on customer service. Think about servicing your customer as opposed to selling them, and provide them a personalized experience. That's why you have sales history. You should know what the customer's taste levels are, their spending habits, what they like, what they don't like. You should always be on the lookout for products your good customers are going to like. You're a personal shopper for your top 20%. I keep saying top 20%. There's an old 80-20 rule that says 20% of your customers produce 80% of your volume, and 20% of your products produce 80% of your volume. So you got 20% of your products and 20% of your customers making it work, helping you pay your bills, giving you a future. So treat them like with kid gloves, and give them benefits other people don't have, and treat them one of a kind, and treat them special. Be prepared for the new and unexpected, what to expect this holiday season. So what we found, what I read about, this was actually, I think, from Forbes magazine, but they were talking about the 2 different perspectives there are in shopping right now. One is to get back to the fun that shopping used to be, and how it was a social event, and how you did it with your friends and neighbors and relatives. And holiday marketing campaigns for the big boys are emphasizing time with loved ones, not particular products. They're talking about the joyous and the family and the gathering that happens during this time of year, and how everybody tends to be friendly to each other, and everyone's wishing everybody a good holiday and a happy new year and all those things. So you got the fun side. In fact, major retailers, I was looking at Macy's in New York, they're having holiday experiences that are safe. So you can come visit Santa in Macy's, but you're not going to sit on his lap. You're going to tell him what's on your Christmas list from 6 feet away. So those are the kinds of things that are changing and have to change. It's not necessarily safe for a toddler to sit on Santa's lap this year, and then you got the other side, which is functional, and that's that side that's looking for convenience, and the side that wants to make shopping easy and easily done and intuitive, and websites that aren't hard to if they have a trouble with your website buying, they'll just go to another website. They're one keystroke away from leaving. And there's a sense of urgency out there right now. Shop early. So there's time to get it to your recipients and your friends and families that are receiving the gifts. Community crowd wisdom is affecting how major retailers are responding. So, it's dealing with the general public, I have a slide here that says, remember the customers, people just like me and you, and they have the same issues and struggles and problems that you have in your own life. So know that they're just people, and they want to be treated like you want to be treated. So the golden rule comes front and center. Do you know the average business only has 8 weeks of working capital, and many even have less? So the holiday season is the best time of the year to build up any reserves that you may be able to build. So reserves are money you put aside in a separate account that's not easy to get to, that you keep in check for when you need it. A good example is you may need some cash just to get through February and March. So, saving money when you're making it is a good deal and a good thing to do. Okay. Data. Know your customers and their buying habits. Jumped ahead there. Know your holidays number. I already said this. Know what history looks like. Know what know your good customers, when they typically buy from you. Do they want an hour shopping appointment of their own? How do your good customers like to shop, and prepare, that way for them to use. Have parties, have giveaways, have contests, have things going on in your store, have guests, have celebrity guests, have manufacturers reps, have giveaways. It's a time of year where everything ought to be pumping. Everything that you do ought to be at its top. It ought to be whirling around like a well-oiled machine. And you may be doing it with less people this year because you simply haven't been able to find good people to hire. So, know the data helps. Oops. Now I got myself. Sorry about that. Go back to my right click. Okay. Begin taking stock of the big picture. Now, this may sound odd to you, but during this madness, you got to be thinking about next year and what does next year look like? What's selling? What isn't? Is the complexion of my business changing? Am I still relevant? Are my hot products still hot? Are there products from other stores that have closed in town that I should have in my store because they were hot products for the other store? The financial issues for the other stores, what made them go out of business. So some of their categories, I'm sure, sold just fine, and somebody ought to be selling those in your town. So what's the forecast for your retail sector? What's the forecast for the niche that you're in, and where is it headed? And how's your town doing? Is it on a roll like my town is, Leesburg, Virginia? Or, are you having trouble? Is it quiet? And what can you do to change that? There's other resources you can go to, the National Retail Federation. You can talk to your local SBDC council. Remember, these counselors are here to help you for no cost. They're here, it's completely confidential. So you don't have to let a bunch of people know what you're struggling with. Just let your SBDC counselor know, and they'll help you. And they're non-judgmental, so don't be afraid to talk to them. But you have to tell them the truth for them to help you. Same thing if I visit you or counsel you virtually, tell me the truth so I can give you my best advice. And then look at the smaller picture, the product mix, what's hot, what's not, what's selling, what isn't. Can any of your unsold inventory be returned to vendors for new product? Is our patterns changing? Is your customer demographic changing? You need to be thinking about all these things as a big picture, as a 30,000 square foot view, so that you can look at the big picture. Plan. Don't work in a vacuum. What worked, what didn't, what was easy, what was hard, what risks were worth it. Share your story and experience for not only the town, but your own store. Capture the holiday spirit, even virtually online. Make sure there's lots of festive stuff on your site and it's decorated for the holidays and things are fun. And it's a retail experience, retail experience. Yeah. Remind people why to shop with you. Why is it important that they come see you? What do you do differently than anybody else? Be empathetic, understand the customer's mindset, their joys, their fears, their frustrations. And on the flip side, they love being out there again. They're out to have a good time, so make it fun. Display and celebrate partnerships. Give shout outs to the people that are helping you, your mail person, your FedEx driver, your UPS driver, your town council, your chamber, all the people that are involved in making this a successful celebration and event for your town. So thank your partners and your community members. Don't go it alone. Share and enhance your experiences. Wrap the town story into yours. Have an events. Think out the town events and promotion and promote those events in your own store and on your website. So I think you ought to have a combination of participating with the town's celebrations and events, and then celebrations and events that your own store has, and how you've marketed those constantly over the last several weeks on your website and on your social media. Cooperators value, all boats rise with the tide. Speak knowledgeably about others and empower them to speak knowledgeably about you. So what a great idea to share the destination statements with each other. Oh, I don't carry that, but you know what? My colleague 3 doors down, I think they have exactly what you just asked for. First of all, you didn't make the sale, but you've made a customer for life because you told them the truth and you helped them. There's plenty of sales for you to have, but people are happiest if they get what they were looking for. So know what the good restaurants are in your town and where they should eat, and know if they ask you where they should stay, and are there any bed and breakfasts in town, and anything going on, in town that they should be aware of and make sure they experience. So cooperation. It's the fusion of cooperation and competition, because competition is good. It improves business. And your customer are people just like you and me. And they're not always predictable. They are generally supportive of buying small and shopping local. And they expect big box perks. They expect quick returns, quick shipping, ease of paying you, gift wrapping, shipping, all those things. And they're not always consistent. Social economic divide in America is larger than it's been in the past 10 years. So the top 5% has as much money as they've had in the past. Now, there are issues with inflation and supply issues and supply and demand, things like that going on. But the wealthy are spending money like they've never spent before. So the high-end products are selling well. And then there's the whole rest of the world that's middle class or less, that's more quality driven and more value driven, more upset about what the future looks like, the unknowing piece of the world, and COVID and new variants and things going on in the news, and Russians, at the border of Ukraine. There's just a lot going on in the world. And my point here is that that product mix that used to be popular for the upper middle class, the upper middle class has moved up to the top 5%. The rest of the middle class has moved into lower middle class because of, you know, job changes and those kinds of things. So we're changing jobs. You know, this is a big time of the year when people, I read articles about people resigning this time of year because their year-end bonuses are getting paid out and the company had a good year and it's just time for them to do something else. And I've met lots of people that are changing careers. So people are unpredictable and you have to expect the unexpected. So, and hiring is going to be a challenge. And some of my advice there is to change the shifts to swing shifts, like, you know, 1 to 4, noon to 4, maybe 10 to 2, maybe, you know, 6 to 10, 4 to 8, you know, make them do more doable and easier to comply with, and more time to have their family, you know, enjoy their family as well. I do know that this time of the year is a time where, you know, you got to make hay while the sun's shining. I know you have to, you know, be ready to rock and roll, and it's exhausting, but it's the time of year it's the time to do that. Roles that leverage the strengths and preferences of people that wouldn't normally get into retail or restaurants. It might be behind the scenes. It might be somebody in charge of packing and shipping. It might be somebody in charge of your social media. It might be somebody in a restaurant that's in charge of scheduling and staffing and writing schedules and social media and marketing digitally, those kinds of things. You might find retirees that are willing to locally deliver your product, or just be greeters and welcome people into the store. Ask them if they shop with you before. Have you ever been before? You know what we're famous for. Do you know why I work here? Because I love the product they have in here. I also love the energy and the vibe in here and the culture. And tell the customer what makes you one of a kind. So you got to be a little more creative when it comes to hiring and scheduling. And it's a time to celebrate. Look back and celebrate how far we've come in the last 2 years. And this should have a ripple effect through your whole business. What can you celebrate with your staff? What can you celebrate with your customers? What can you celebrate with your top customers? What can you celebrate with your new customers? What can you celebrate with your internet customers? And what can you celebrate with what you've done digitally and virtually that you might not have done ever before? And then think about your passion and your planning and your perseverance. Why are you doing this? And what are you going to do and how going forward? So a time of rejoice, a time of consternation, a time of looking at the future, a time of looking at the past and studying the history and using data to make good decisions about going forward, and using the data that you've collected to reach out to customers in January and February with you might have given them be-back coupons at the end of December that allow them to, provide them a promotion or something in January that invites them back into the store, things like that. Always put a be-back coupon and a thank you note in a box that you ship to a customer. Thank you notes, I believe in, and if you're not so crazy that you can get some thank you notes out of your employees on good experiences they had with customers and customers had with them, I think it's a good idea. It brings the whole personalization right to the forefront when you write somebody a handwritten thank you note. So that's what I had to discuss with you today. It's roughly, what time is it? It's roughly 10 o'clock. Any questions, any concerns, any comments? This is our web address, both at the Virginia SBDC and at Virginia's training training portal. So Kayla, anything to tell them or anybody that has a question?
Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A chat. For now, as you'll see, I just launched the survey. So if you help us fill out this evaluation, it really helps us make things better and lets Mark know he did a great job. So if you guys could take some time to do that while we see if any questions trickle in. You will all receive an email with a link to the recording and evaluation and to the slides. And if you'd like to sign up for upcoming webinars or access recorded webinars, please visit the link virginiasbdc.org/training. So thank you, everyone.
Super duper. And we're going to give another one in January about 2022 and all the ways to make sure you're maximizing the present and beyond sometime in January. So have your eyes peeled for that.
And we also do one-on-one counseling or just asking a question as well. It's the help@virginiasbdc.org. So.
Yeah, I do one-on-one counseling as well. I'm not an advisor for the SBDC. I'm their retail restaurant small business strategist, but I do virtual and live one-on-ones that you can schedule through the SBDC website. Be happy to do it. And it's a hoot too. And you'll learn something, I guarantee it.
Heather says, thank you, Mark. Another great session. So.
Well, you're welcome. I try to give you stuff you can use.
Looks like we don't have any questions.
Well, maybe I was thorough this time. I just want to wish everybody the best season they've had in a long time, and enjoy being with your family and friends, and rejoice that we're moving in the right direction. And hopefully we'll get this pandemic under control and we can move on.
Heather also says, love the destination statement exercise and keyword list. So I like that too. I like seeing everyone's statements. So
yeah, they're just, it's not a pitch. I don't call it a pitch anymore because it's not a pitch. It's what's the truth. You can't find this or get this service, or you can't get this product anywhere else in the state. Let me tell you why or how. So, it's important. Oh, I don't think I said this, but I always say it. Just be kind. It's the easiest thing to do.
definitely.
It's always the best way to put your foot forward.
Looks like there are no more questions. So thank you, Mark, and thank you everyone for filling out the evaluation, and have a great holiday season and rest of your 2021 before 2022. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody.